Welcome to the Dissolutions podcast, brought to you by the Goethe-Institut Ukraine. This series features artists from Eastern Europe, the Baltics, the South Caucasus, and Central Asia, reflecting on their work, local contexts, and what it means to be an artist today. The podcast is part of Dissolutions Decolonial Encounters, a program exploring post-colonial practices across art, culture, and civil society.
Ramin Mazur introduces himself as a photojournalist and a documentary photographer, whose journey into visual storytelling began unexpectedly, with no formal training in photography, but a background in journalism and hands-on experience. He recalls how being handed a camera at his first reporting job led him to discover photography as a narrative tool, a discovery that came during a period of instability and reflection after losing that job.
I was just working 1 year, trying to understand what I do, bringing like thousands of pictures from the one event and trying to figure out what's good, what not, what narrative you can build out of those images and so on. And then it was closed, the newspaper, I was thrown out and was without a job, so I had 1 year and a credit loan for the camera without a job. And it was a time to reflect and understand, like, should I do something with that or I should go for some regular jobs? And that was the time when I decided to stay and pursue project narratives already, and that was like unconsciously the way to the artistic path of the visual storytelling.
Ramin paints a nuanced portrait of Moldova, a country shaped by overlapping cultural legacies, Romanian, Soviet, and multi-ethnic influences, including Gagauz and Bulgarian communities. He sees Moldova at a critical crossroads, trying to define its identity in the post-independence era, caught between conflicting narratives.
Right now, Moldova, as I see it, is on the way to establish what it is, actually, Republic of Moldova, because at the beginning, it was like more tending to be this Romanian state, and a lot of discourse were about the Iranification with Romania. And from the other side, it was, of course, like pro-Russian narratives and Soviet nostalgia. And right now, there is a sort of way to build this new narrative somehow between who we are and as a society. But in the same time, there is a lot of provocation. Okay, you cannot call it right now pro-Russian propaganda. It's rather like this right rhetorics that is also attacked through the different agents who are not directly supporting Russia, but the money goes from that region.
While there is hope, he warns how fragile this balance is, especially in the context of rising far-right movements across Europe.
You kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it's a really dangerous way right now. We saw how the election went in Romania, which is more than 10 years already in the European Union, and how quickly they can be switched to the far right. The man who's just even not a politician, he's just a TikTok star.
With a mixed heritage, half Afghan, half Ukrainian, and having spent part of his childhood in Ukraine, Ramin sees his work as rooted not only in Moldova, but in the wider region. He reflects on how his early projects about Transnistria replicated outsider narratives. Over time, he shifted towards a more personal and reflective approach, once focused on family ties, abandonment, and the slow disconnection of people from places they once called home.
At some point, I was just like, well, I don't need to replicate it, and I need to understand what it is, Transnistria. For me, suddenly all this post-Soviet oddity of this crazy place went on the second plan, and the first thing was where is my hometown and the relations to the family. This piece of the land is left by its people little by little. It's pushing away someone who wants to have change. I was pushed really close, Chisinau, but other people just moving away. I wanted to push on this criteria that like, people are living in the bank. It's called left bank because it's the left bank of the Dniester River, but it's also left by people. When the political discourse are coming, they do a referendum or something, but people are voted from there, either associated with the state or the business, or they're just pensioners, so on. They're vulnerable because they have only one access to the information.
One of his projects explores the psychological effects on a long-term exposure to propaganda, a quiet form of cognitive colonization. The work focuses on his grandmother, an ethnically Ukrainian woman who spends the last decades of her life in Transnistria, alone with her TV, watching Russian state media. Ramin reflects on how language, memory, and even identity are shaped by media over time. He photographed distorted screens, shifting colors, and a digital noise, all symbolizing the altered perception and parallel reality created by state broadcasting.
You just see something on the screen and you talk about that, and that kind of withdraw all your communal life of your community, because you speak only about that and your head is occupied by some great narrative about the greatness, but then you don't see the shit under your foot. It's still in the post-production. Besides just an exhibition and a collage thing, I want to create soundscaping of how your mental position here is distorted by the TV itself and the narratives, but not going through this anti-propaganda way, like where do you place yourself when you are under this influence.
He explains that his decision to join the residency in Armenia was based on familiarity, the desire to build connections, and a deep interest in urban development and regional dialogue.
I find it very interesting to visit in Yerevan with all this really interesting development that is happening in the city, because I'm also interested in the urban spaces and the layers of the urban space and how we construct the cities. And it's nice to have these ties and bridges over the Black Sea. I guess there is an identity of the Black Sea, but it isn't. We are so close but so far in the same time. Moldova, Georgia and Armenia, like we are really small countries, and a lot of backgrounds are kind of the similar we went through, especially with the cutaway regions.
Ramin reflects critically on Moldova's relationship with its past. He observes a tendency to erase or ignore local memory through demolished buildings, discarded archives, and cultural neglect. In his work with the vernacular photography, he's even found valuable negatives thrown into the trash. At the same time, he sees a societal illusion, the idea that joining the European Union will somehow solve internal problems. He criticizes the government's empty slogans and lack of real conversation with its own citizens.
We are in the way that we are going right now in the EU, but unfortunately we see it as a society as some sort of salvation. As a predominantly Orthodox country, we see it like a second session of the Christ or something, that the God will save us and ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. And we don't see each other in our society, how we work, what we want to do, how we want to do. And the government actually basically use really cheesy slogans, but it's not about us, those slogans. It's about where do we go, but not who we are. About the European Union, about the only choice, about our European partners, and blah, 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 blah. And okay, it's nice. But the problem is that the current government is better to constructing the dialogue with the European Union rather than its own people.
Despite the obstacles, such as lack of funding, limited exhibition space, and institutional barriers, Ramin chooses action over complaint. For him, art is a way to stay connected, raise questions, and engage meaningfully with society. He believes in breaking out of the closed circles of the art world and working directly with people. For him, art is a way to stay connected, to raise questions, and to participate. He believes in breaking out of the bubbles and closed circles of the art world and working directly with society. Because at its best, art doesn't just reflect reality, it creates the space to see it differently.
Yeah, there are challenges. There are no money, there are no exhibition spaces and so on, but I kind of get used to it. Rather than just complain about what's happening, I'll better just work. I do strongly believe that art can help it, but it shouldn't be something from the bubble, because we need to get out of those bubbles, do whatever takes, guerrilla practices, participatory practices with the society itself, and not close ourselves in the bubbles of the vernissages and the art centers. But emotionally, really need that part of the reflection, and the visual narratives brings you this distance for the reflection.
Intermediate artist Evghenia Gritscu was born in Ukraine, raised in a Romanian family, moved to Romania, and now pursuing her PhD in Poland. Her life consists of borders, languages, and shifting allegiances. When asked where she's from, she still finds it difficult to give a definitive answer, a reflection of her hybrid identity and the fluid nature of national belonging in Eastern Europe.
So all the time when somebody asks how to write my name with which country, I put 3 countries all the time. I don't have a geographical place because I'm moving a lot. I understand that I should build a home around me, and my home is inside me. So if I feel good, I can feel good wherever I am. So I just create some space around me and start to create there and work there. But actually my home is where my studio.
Evghenia sees her artistic process as a dialogue between content and form. She doesn't start with a fixed medium in mind. Instead, she begins with a question. What does she want to express, and why does it matter? Only after identifying the emotional and conceptual weight of the topic does she choose the form that can carry it best. Whether it's video, ceramics, drawing, performance, or photography, she selects her tools based on the kind of connection she wants to create with the viewer.
I decide to work only with a topic what is very personal for me, so don't touch a topic where I'm not so active. My personal background, I start to study my identity because till now I don't know who I am, because Ukrainian says that I am Romanian and Romanian says that I am Ukrainian, and I'm very confused till now. But I have both this big culture something, and in my project I always touch the subject of a border because my home city is on the border. We have a very mixed culture inside of city and inside of region.
The invitation to take part in a residency program landed right at the heart of the Evghenia's artistic focus. Her work is deeply rooted in the question of how individuals preserve their identity and cultural heritage when crossing borders, how they resist the slow assimilation of self in unfamiliar places. These themes, she notes, resonate strongly with the Armenian context as well, where questions of migration, memory, and tradition remain deeply present.
My friend, she is on this resident too. She just called me and asked because she knows that I'm working with migration topic and I'm working with identity. For me, it's very important to understand how when you move to some other country, to not lose yourself and to not lose your tradition, and in the same time to not become this diaspora things where coming together and sing some very usual traditional songs. How to not become that part, but how to keep your tradition and to not lose it.
Another key aspect of the residency was its focus on decoloniality. Living in Romania, Evghenia often notices how little people reflect on their country's past. She highlights that many still romanticize communism and embrace Russian culture uncritically, treating it as the default among Slavic traditions. For her, this is a sign of unresolved colonial influence. She questions why Russian remains so dominant while other Slavic cultures like Polish or Czech, with their own literary legacies, are often overlooked. Evghenia emphasizes the importance of addressing these blind spots, especially with younger generations and fellow artists. As someone from a post-Soviet country, she feels a responsibility to speak up and offer a different perspective, one that challenges nostalgia and encourages critical thinking.
I'm not sure that it's romanticization, but they didn't see this like an enemy. They see it's like, yeah, it was just a period, but whatever. And with Russians, they don't have any problem. With Russian culture, they say that culture is one, and Dostoevsky it's one, and a tongue it's other. No, guys, it's dangerous. It's dangerous for you. And now they have election. On the first place, it's a pro-Russian candidate. So it's a dangerous, and they didn't understand it.
Evghenia also reflected on the layered colonial history of the region, noting that Romania itself was once under Ottoman rule, a form of soft colonization, as she described it, which still hasn't been fully acknowledged or processed. Speaking about her hometown in Ukraine, she emphasized its complex past as a border city shaped by successive empires. The territory remained the same, she explained, but the country's changed. Despite this turbulent history, she said, people often resist naming these shifts as colonization, especially when it comes to Austria, which many locals credit with building the city. For her, this denial is part of a broader unwillingness to critically examine the past. Although her decision to move to Romania was voluntary, she highlights that migration is never easy. Even when a person appears strong, the inner toll can be immense. Local may not always recognize it, but for many migrants, life abroad feels like living on a pause.
Migration, it's not all the time, it's our choice. And even if our choice, it's very hard. Sometimes, even if migrant didn't show that he's in very bad emotional stage, sometimes they need help. The local people, they afraid of strangers, and at the same time they're curious. As immigrant, you can feel that you are like a monkey, that people looking on you and saying, oh, he's not from here, or trying to smile to you because you are different. My message is to not be afraid and to be a little bit more tolerant, because even if we don't show that something changed inside of us, it's a huge drama inside of every immigrant. It feels like you put your life on the pause.
Despite speaking Romanian fluently, she still feels the subtle gaze of being othered. People often only notice she's a foreigner once they hear her accent, and their expressions shift. These moments remind her how much misunderstanding still surrounds Ukraine and its people. Amid the pain of war, a quiet solidarity grows between Ukrainians abroad. Evghenia spoke of deep, wordless moments of understanding shared with fellow artists who've become like family. In the face of tragedy, they don't always talk, they just sit together and share their feelings in silence.
With Ukrainians, you feel very safe. With Ukrainians abroad, really creative, very cool people, and they become my very close friend. It's nice because we can help each other. Just if something bad happening in Ukraine, like was shattered in Ohmadet in the children's hospital, we just sit and just looking on each other and didn't speak, but it was understandable by each other. So this community created by ourselves.
When engaging with subjects as urgent as war, Evghenia remains careful not to overstep her position. Preparing for a solo exhibition, she interviewed Ukrainian refugee children she had worked with for the past 3 years, asking them what home means to them. She approaches the topic of war gently, aware that she is not currently living through it firsthand. For her, the line between empathy and appropriation must be navigated with care.
I touch this topic of war, but a little bit, because I don't want to lie to myself from beginning, because I'm not there. It's very important to do something about this topic, but it's important to be very careful about.
Despite the challenges of the time, she holds a steady belief in the transformative power of art. Even if one piece changes just a single mind, that spark can ripple outward. Artists, she says, have the ability and perhaps even the obligation to reach people on an emotional level. That emotional connection is not just a method, but the essence of the artistic profession.
In our turbulence time, artists can change something, really can change something with the art. I think that if you can change the mind of one person, you can change the mind of 10 persons for sure, because it's going like a sarafan radio from one person to other person. So touch a soul, it's our profession, it's how we work.
That's it for today's episode of the Dissolutions podcast. Make sure to subscribe. Next, we'll hear from Inga Edmane and Janos Sama.